Hey everybody, how you doing? This is MidDream. My name's Austin. You can follow me on Twitch, sub to me on YouTube, follow my Spotify. I've got a bunch of music out there. I also perform live all the time, so you can check that out. It's mostly on the internet. But today I'm going to show you how I work with the Ableton Looper. I do some interesting stuff. I chain a bunch of loopers together, not in series, but like in parallel, and I have them all muted, and I have audio running through them, and then I choose which ones have open floodgates essentially, and it's really fun. It makes playing with the Ableton loopers super effective. I don't really do any audio looping in clip view. I keep all my looping audio to the actual audio looper effect outside of specific scenarios. So let's jump right into it. Show you how I do this. I have my little keyboard button thing pressed up here. So when I play this, and like I've got guitars, I've got basses, I've got synths, I've got drum machines, I've got mics, I've got all kinds of ways to input audio into Ableton for this specific thing, because not everybody has all of those. I'm showing you how to do it with 3 MIDI devices. If you have input guitars and all that kind of stuff, it's the same thing. You know, here's your guitar channel where the instrument is coming in. Here's the vocal channel. It's actually some weird ass synth, and then I have this synth channel, right? So imagine that you've got all these and you'd like to loop them without looping MIDI and without making clips in the clip view, and you'd like to use the actual Ableton looper audio effect for whatever reason. I find it to be very useful. There are a bunch of controls on the audio effect looper that make it well worth your time to be playing with. So let's get into this here. You can see on my looper channel, there's absolutely nothing on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by putting a looper on it. So I'm going to go to looper, here it is, drag it onto the channel, and then we have one looper. And then, so the idea is we'd like to get our audio from these channels to the looper. I kind of do a like a subsequent passing into it, through busing through different audio channels. So check this out. I created 3 new audio channels. I'm gonna Control G to create a group there, and you can actually mute this group out because this audio is not going to be going to this group. It's going to be going to this looper channel. So on this 3 audio, we're going to rename these for organizational purpose. Git for guitar, Vox for vocals, and of course we have Anal for analog. Worth it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to patch the audio from these channels, which can be instruments or MIDI things, or whatever they may be, audio sources. We're going to patch them through these buses into the looper, and there's a reason why we use buses and don't go straight into the looper. Check it out. On each of these channels, we're going to change the input to these channel names. So the outputs to the actual channels here are still going to the master or to whatever bus for mixing before they get mixed in with the drums and then go to the master, whatever you're doing. And this is for performance, more like this is for performance rather than production. If you're producing, fuck it, do anything you'd like. It's production. But for performance, this is what I've tested to be like working, So for the guitar channel, we're going to change the audio from drop-down menu to this guitar channel, and do the same for these other ones too. So we've got the vocal synth and the analog, and that's awesome. We're going to set them all to in, so the audio is constantly flowing from here to here. So when I play something on the guitar, you can see that the audio is going from here to here. It's being pulled from there. The audio is being pushed from the guitar channel to the master, but this channel is pulling the audio from here to this channel, the bus channel. And we have it set to post mixer. So if you change the volume, then the volume will change and all that stuff. It'll be what you hear in the master is what's being pulled to this channel. And then because this group is muted, the audio is not being doubled and it's being sent to the master again. Now, I oftentimes do this just because if this accidentally gets turned on, I don't want to be doubling audio. If I set it to sends only, it's not going to send anywhere because I've got the sends all the way down to 0. I might as well turn this all the way down too, just for safety. And now these channels are actually going to be sent to, right now they're all being sent to the group. We're going to send them to the looper channel. So check this out, sent to loopers. So now this audio that's being pulled from this guitar channel is now being patched through this channel and then sent to the looper. Now, same with this voco synth, you can see, and right now our audio is being doubled. We're going to fix that in just a moment. And same with this bass synth, right? It's being sent to the loopers through these bus channels. So over here on this looper channel, to avoid the audio being doubled, right now it says the input gets sent to the output. We're going to change that from always to never. This is super important because what this does is it says any audio that it senses at the input will not be sent to the output. The only audio that this looper will be sending to the output will be audio that it has already looped. So by the time it's sending the audio to the master, you've already played it and are playing the next line. You feel me? And so this little button right here, it's saying record for X bars. I have it quantized to the global quantization, which is a quarter note. And it's saying after you close the loop, it's going to overdub. So this is going to do something like this. And like you can for this tutorial, we're gonna change it to this, but I'm gonna show you what the overdub does, just in case you'd like to do that instead. I have them set up so it's variable. I can change it, this way and that way. But check it out. I'm gonna map this, and I have this mapped to MIDI on my actual performance setup. And this is how that looks, by the way. This is me performing. So what we just did is we mapped this to my one button, right? So we can press stop and clear. These are also mappable, the stop, the play, and the clear buttons, and the undo buttons. Very, very, very useful. And what this does is, you see how this audio is going to this bus and it's going to this looper? Let's play this drum so we can hear our metronome. Great, beautiful. I don't know why I chose that. So it looped it, and what's useful with the looper is that immediately over the top of it, we can loop something, and if it's in overdub mode, we can play something on top of that, and it adds to the loop. You feel me? So now so we can... And then we can stop and clear, or we can stop and then play anytime we'd like, For the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to keep this to record and then play, and that means that when I record it, this is not being recorded into the loop. Feel me? So it's like that's more like what people would expect to happen. I loop it, and then I'm going to keep playing on top of this loop that I'm doing. Although you could have it in overdub mode. I love overdub mode. I switch back and forth. This is my looper setup. I think I've already shown you, but again, this is my looper setup. The second looper automatically goes into overdub. The first looper automatically goes into play mode, and the third looper automatically goes into overdub mode, and it's mirrored on the left and right sides. I actually have 6 loopers running at the same time for the purposes of when I play anything on the right side, it hits the stop button of anything on the left side, and vice versa. So I can essentially make a bunch of loops and then make a bunch of B-side loops, and then A and B between the two, and kind of shuffle back and forth between these two sections that I've built. And then I can create like a secondary bridge and then snap back to one of my previous sections that I've built for creating songs on the fly and having fun. Super exciting. So this over here makes sense. We're going to stop and we're going to clear. And we can stop our playhead too. What we're going to do is we're going to unmap this. and we're going to duplicate. Well, okay, we're going to put this into an instrument rack. Control G to group it, right? And now on this audio effect rack, you have this chain with a looper in it. Now this looper is set to play after you record, and the input to output is set to never. This is also very important again. Before we were doubling our audio. If it's not set to never, if it's set to always, or one of the other things, then when you make a bunch of loopers, like here are 6 of them, you're going to multiply your audio feed by 6. So instead of hearing one guitar, you're going to hear 7 at the same time, and it's just overload because it's just an increase in amplitude. It's not some kind of cool delay. It's just making it louder, and it's really pointless. So what we're going to do here, we are now going to map each of these to numbers on here. And again, I have these mapped to MIDI stuff on an iPad, but you can map it to anything you like. So that's number 3. Yep. Here's number 4. I'm mapping these to the numbers on my computer keyboard. Great. Good stuff. So now this is how my stuff works. I'm going to put a few effects before this chain as well. I'll put a reverb and a delay. There we go. You can put any amount of effects. Some beat repeats and stuff are fun. But this is like your looper effect rack. So it's more general effects, less specific effects. And this is the general function, the general usage of my loopers. Check it out. So we have this kick going, right? So we can hear what's going on. Now we can hold up. Okay, loop. So you see I've looped in the first one. Now we're going to arm my second track, and we can then loop in the second looper. Now these effects are being added to it, right? Super fun, super cool. I can turn those off, and it sounds like the effects are still on because the audio has been recorded. So this means that we can now turn all of our effects off, but we still hear effects because we recorded the actual audio that was being affected. Now we can move over to our analog, right? And over on the third one, you don't have to be highlighting the channel to see, like I can be anywhere else to be looping this, right? So this is generally how my loopers work. It's very effective, very effective. This is the most simple way that I'm doing it right now, especially because they're all MIDI instruments. At times you have guitar and vocals going at the same time, or maybe you're playing some synths and singing at the same time or something, and that's why we use these buses, so that when here's another example. I'm going to delete all of these loops. We're going to stop and clear. I have these MIDI mapped, so it's very easy for me to stop and clear a bunch of stuff at the same time. So check this out. I have these buttons MIDI mapped as well, the power buttons to these tracks, to my busing tracks. They're usually all off. So when I go to loop something, nothing loops unless I turn one or more of these on. So if we turn on the guitar looping thing, and we're playing guitar and the synth at the same time, it's going to only loop one of them because only the guitar is being sent. You feel me? So we're gonna press play, and see, it only looped the guitar. And now I'm playing the synth on top of it so that I could play 2 things at once and only loop one of them. And that's generally how my loopers work. There's a bunch of other stuff going on in my setup. I have very complex MIDI mapping. I have a bunch of cross mapping stuff going on. So I have the same thing mapped to like these 3 stop buttons on the first 3 as I do on these 3 play buttons. And through use of Clever Max for Live, and I can reroute MIDI to do more than one thing with one control signal. and it's super awesome, super awesome. So this is how I use my loopers. If this helped at all, go ahead and give it a like, give it a subscribe. Again, check me out on Spotify. I released an album like a couple weeks ago with my fiance El Therese, and yeah, check it out. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for the likes, thank you for the follows, and I'll see you around. Peace.